this morning, we are going to talk about the impact of the Treasure Valley housing market on the senior, vulnerable, and disabled population, and more from the ownership piece of things, or those people who might be preparing to sell their home. We're very fortunate to have two of our very own members and board members that are going to be presenting today. I'm going to introduce Mary Holden and Donna Rogers. Mary holds a degree in social work and a graduate certificate in gerontology from Boise State University. She is also a senior real estate specialist with Red Pheasant Realty, and she has a passion for helping older adults and their families work through the daunting process of transitioning into a new living situation. Mary serves as a senior advocate with leadership roles in both the Idaho Caregiver Alliance and the Justice Alliance for Vulnerable Adults, which often is referred to as JAVA. Mary is a member of the Family Caregiver Navigator Project team, working on a 2-year pilot project, helping caregivers through their caregiving journey. She works with a network of organizations and individuals to expand opportunities for respite for caregivers and to prevent elder abuse through action and education. And Donna Rogers has worked in the healthcare community for the past 12 years and has been a licensed real estate agent since 2005. She is a senior real estate specialist and has a passion for helping seniors avoid the crisis that aging can oftentimes create and to help them find answers and solutions. In 2020, Donna was chosen as the state and local winner of Idaho's Best Real Estate Agent. She enjoys educating the community, other realtors, and healthcare professionals about different resources that are available to seniors that will assist them to age safely with quality of life and dignity. Donna is also on the Canyon Board of Guardians, and she is an active member of JAVA, and her mission is to improve the lives of seniors through caring service, education, and support. So again, I thank Mary and Donna for sharing your time and your expertise with us this morning, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, well, I will start us off here. First of all, I'm so glad that we had Allie come to speak, because that whole renter-tenant piece of what's happening in our just wild real estate market is really huge, and I think it's just going to get worse. We're going to hear more horror stories, and it's so good to know that we have a resource like Jesse Tree there. Donna and I don't have a PowerPoint this morning. We're going to kind of be going back and forth, covering different aspects of the current housing situation and its impact on vulnerable adults, people with disabilities. And we want this to be an interactive conversation. So feel free to put questions in the chat, and Mary will monitor that for us. When Donna and I met with Mary to talk about this presentation, we were talking, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, and then we realized we are really being negative. It was like, what good is there to say about what's happening in this market, with people being priced out of the market, renters are not able to find housing, and there's really no end in sight to this. So honestly, as much as we want to sugarcoat this, or the fact that so many Boise and Treasure Valley residents are priced out of the market, there's not a lot of positive from our perspective, if you're one of those people. And we may not be able to give you a lot of answers today, but hopefully, that will solve this housing problem, but hopefully we'll give you some awareness of what's actually happening out there and how you can help your clients that might be in a position of trying to find housing or are wanting to sell their house and move into something smaller or safer. And as you can tell by listening to our bios, Donna and I kind of have unique backgrounds, and we're also real estate agents. So and Donna will talk more about this when we get to her. I have a really small little niche market where I just work with families that are trying to figure out if their family can stay in their home or if it's time to sell the house and either downsize or move into a assisted living community. There, she is a busy realtor working with buyers and sellers of all ages, and so she'll tell you a little bit more about that. And it's interesting because most realtors work for sales, and in my situation, sometimes I tell people it's probably not a good idea to sell your house right now, or it would be better financially for you to be able to stay put if we can figure out how to make that happen. I think a lot of you that work in aging know that the stuff is really, really important to people that want to move, but they don't know what to do with the stuff. It can keep people in an unsafe situation for a long time. So we both have some expertise in helping people that are hoarders that just need that extra help. So, and in case you haven't heard, Idaho is the fastest growing state in the country. And Boise is, I believe, right now, the hottest real estate market in the country. Mary made a reference to, we were on the Today Show yesterday morning, and Allie was interviewed. And it was, it was like a commercial for Boise. I don't know if any of you saw it, but I thought now even more people will be coming here because they just highlighted, we know why we live here and why people are coming here. It's beautiful. We've got amazing outdoor recreation, right in our backyards. A beautiful river runs through it, hiking trails, skiing within, just right down the road. And until recently, we had a relatively low cost of living. And that has certainly changed. And so we have all of that going on, and yet we also live in a state that notoriously pays pretty low salaries and wages. So that's really playing a role in housing. And I'm gonna call it a crisis for some people, especially first-time home buyers, young families, jobs, and older people like Allie. Older people who want to downsize are just really having a tough time. Before I turn it over to Donna, I'll share my last two real estate clients that I've worked with, and they're kind of in two different situations. My first couple, Rob and Janice, they are both in their late 70s. They called me. I had helped their daughter find a house, and they called me in 2014. They wanted to talk. We decided that it was probably best if they stayed in their house. They were comfortable. They were still very active at that point. At that point, that house, it was a 1,500 square foot house in Meridian, would have sold for $130,000. So this past March, I got a call from them. They were ready to list their house. We listed it. They had over 75 showings in less than 2 days. We had 17 offers, and they sold the house for $460,000 cash. And that's, like I said, a little 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot house in Meridian. They were in the perfect position because they didn't have to find another place to go. They had made this decision to start traveling in their motorhome. They have a big motorhome. They purchased a fifth wheel that they permanently parked in an RV park in Caldwell. That's kind of their home their home base, and they are free and off they go. They made just an unbelievable profit on that house. And talking to, I mean, I had to call back, or I make it a habit of personally calling agents back who have presented offers and their clients didn't get the offer or didn't get the home. And the stories that I heard from just people, they are desperate to find a home. You know, I talked to a woman, a realtor who represented a teacher with 3 little kids, and they just can't compete. They just cannot compete with these cash offers, and people mostly coming in from other areas. It's really challenging. It was one of the conversations that Donna and I kept having, is like, what's the answer? I mean, I think there are a lot of people trying to figure that out right now, from our government leaders to Allie in the legislature, and we'll see how it all plays out. But now on I have a totally different situation. This woman is 88 years old. She has had a couple of falls recently. She lives in a little townhouse off of State Street, really nice area. It will sell in a heartbeat, but she does not have a place to go, that we can't find anything. So she was thinking that she and her daughter started talking, and they decided that she would move to Seattle to live with her daughter. And then the more they thought about that wouldn't work. Her daughter has a lot of stairs. It might work for a little bit, but long-term, that was not a good option. So then the daughter is now selling her house in Seattle. She's going to move here, and buy a house here where she can bring her mom. But again, we have not been able to find anything that will work for them. So in the meantime, we've brought in safety for seniors. They've installed grab bars. They've done their safety inspection, and they've done what they need to do to help her prevent falls. We were able to arrange for a cleaning person to come in once a month and really do a deep clean. So that's part of what I do also. If we can't find a home or a different situation, with all of you, I've developed so many contacts. We can find services to help if they have resources to pay for those. And just my last comment is I check, this kind of tells you the whole story. Every morning we can look in our multiple listing service, and we'll see how many new listings are come up every day. For the last couple of weeks, it's been maybe 10, 20 new listings per day. Yesterday, it was 65, which is as high as I've seen it in a long time. But that includes, this is our area is Ada, Canyon, Elmore, and Gem County. So only 65 new listings, and those can be from building lots, trailers to mansions. I mean, it just covers. And we have approximately 9,000 real estate agents in our MLS. So that kind of, that just shows the need. And I think I'm going to pass it off to Donna, and she can talk to you a little bit more about that.
Okay, thank you. I'm so depressed now, Mary. Thank you. And I think that's the point, is that Mary and I were trying to come up with something positive, and it was really difficult because it's a very alarming market to all of us. But I was kind of comparing it to the idea of, think about how we feel when we're, in senior care, and we're completely overwhelmed by the magnitude of seniors that need assistance and need someone to love them, care for them, look out for them. And I realized that, what can we do? All we can do is educate and try to make a difference in our little corner of the world, and to help other people understand maybe some of the warning signs that they should avoid. And so I kind of decided that that's Mary and I's purpose, I guess, today, is just fix it. But we can play a big part in educating others. And I think that's the biggest the biggest gift that we can give right now, is educating people about what to be aware of and the processes, and just some red flags. I think that, I value being an SRES so much, and I know Mary has the same heart that I do. And that is that, there are a lot, like she said, there's 9,000 agents right now. Not all of them have the best of intentions, and yet they're out looking for the quick buck, walking up and down these sidewalks, knocking on doors. And when they get a senior, and the senior has paid $85,000 for their house, 50, 60 years ago, and they find out that they can get 500,000. That's a real vulnerability for our seniors. So I was just thinking, we came up with this list because being a real estate agent is a lot of time and work and money. You're paying dues, you're required to have continuing education. But being an SRES, which is a senior real estate specialist, requires more education and more dues. And so I think that these people have really stepped up and said, I want more. I'm going to spend more so that I have more to give clients. And I think that, it's interesting because we tell people in senior healthcare, interview your hospice, interview your home care, interview your elder law attorney, interview people and find out who is the best fit for you and who has the most skills. And yet, what do we do when it comes to real estate? Well, my cousin's sister just got their license. That's alarming, because if you have not been through the trenches of real estate, I'm telling you, I don't know if, and Mary can relate to this, but I don't know if you know how many times we tear out our hair and call people and threaten their lives. No, not quite that bad. But, there's people out there that are not doing it correctly, and they're making it difficult for all. And there's a lot of times I get to the closing table and I just want to sit there and cry, because of the journey that it's been. And you get a brand new real estate agent that just decided to come in and do it part-time for a quick buck. They can be dangerous. And so that's why I tell people, when I got my SRES, that was a symbol of me saying, sometimes the best solution is not for you to sell your house. Now, what real estate agent that needs to pay their bills really is going to honestly feel that way? Like, I need this sale. But that's the commitment that I've made, and that's the commitment that I hope other SRESs are making. But still, interview, get these people and find out, how many seniors have you worked with? How do you do it differently? Are you good with talking with adult children about this process? I'm here to tell you, my parents' house closes today. Thank you. And I'm telling you what, the family dynamics that popped out in my own family are enough to fill a really interesting book. And it may come out soon. And the names won't be changed to protect the guilty. No, I'm kidding. But what I'm saying is, there is so much that goes on in this process. It is such an emotional time, not only for the families that's seeing their parents lose their independence, but also there's this craziness about, that's my inheritance. You're selling my parents' inheritance. I even had a family member say, wait, you can't sell this house. That's our inheritance. I'm like, our parents aren't dead yet. Okay, there's a difference. So I want to share a couple experiences with you, just so you kind of know what is happening out there that's kind of concerning. I actually went and I got a referral from a placement company, and I went out and talked to this gentleman. He's lived in his house for 60 years. He's in a wheelchair now. He's on his way to assisted living. And I had all my comparables that I had done. And so I'm sitting there talking to him, and I said, can I just ask you if you could give me the price that you would be in your dreams to walk away with this house, what would it be? And he said, I would be amazed if I could get $200,000. Well, guess what my comparables were showing? Somewhere between 430 and 450,000. So right there, what an opportunity for me, if my heart was not in the right place, to say, you know what, sold. Because I could turn around and flip that house and walk away with a couple $100,000. And I don't want to believe that there are people out there like that, but I've encountered enough of them to know that there really are. Again, I was also sent out to CUNA. I was talking to a woman there that her husband passed away. She was getting ready to move into an assisted living. Her house, the little cottage that she was getting, wasn't quite ready. So we're sitting there on the couch. She's overwhelmed. She's crying. She's just lost her husband. She's got boxes everywhere. I'm assuring her that we have to take this very carefully, because I said, your house is going to sell in a day. And if it's cash, it's going to close in a week or two. We have to know where you're going. I need to work with the assisted living to make sure that we know exactly when your cottage is going to be ready. I'm going to get some people to come over and help you go through some of these boxes and kind of, get rid of some of these things that you've been carrying through your life that's weighing you down. We're just going to do this as part of a process. Okay, great. So I said, I'll be back Monday. We'll get it started. Well, Sunday, a real estate agent knocked on her door. Needless to say, she signed a listing agreement. The house sold in a day. It was cash. It closed in 2 weeks. The woman had nowhere to go. So guess what they did? They took all of her possessions. They threw it in a storage unit, shut the door, and she moved into a hotel for 2 months until her cottage was ready. And I spoke to the marketing person at the cottage, and she said, yeah, she's moved in, but you know what? She's never been the same. And she never got any of her stuff out of storage. It's still there. It broke her. And I called the agent that had listed it so quickly, and I said, how do you live with yourself? I mean, look what you've done. And she said, you're just jealous because you didn't get the listing. So that's the kind of stuff that, that we're dealing with that's out there. So it's, I guess, instead of just being super depressing, I just want to say this is another area where we have to educate people that there are a difference between real estate agents, even if they have a designation. If you were going, you've heard this a million times, if you were going to a plastic surgeon or a heart surgeon, you would be interviewing them, you would be looking at references, you would be knowing that what kind of person this was. And, I really have to say that that's probably the most important thing you can do right now, is just beware. All real estate agents are not created the same. We do have some direction and oversight, but a lot of times people don't know how to report it. There is an ethics board that's part of the Real Estate Commission. Don't be afraid to report people. They've got to have their hands slapped. We just got some correspondence from the National Real Estate Association saying, do you feel that it's important that we have more ethics classes? And I'm like, no, because those people who have ethics are already using them. What we need is more penalties for people who violate the ethics. So, I guess, I know that was not very encouraging. But again, it's just educate, understand that we can be such a big part of the solution. I tell people I sell real estate for a living. I serve seniors because it's my passion. And I do know that there are others out there, but you just have to be aware. And just realize that anytime you get an opportunity to talk to a senior or the adult children, that first of all, there's going to be a million different opinions based on what child it is. I was actually given a t-shirt by my sisters. So we got older sister, middle sister, little sister. Well, I'm like, wait, I'm not the littlest, but I'm in the middle with my other middle sister. She says, oh no, yours says the only child, there are no rules for me. So that's what she gave me, because that's how she felt about my involvement in helping my parents get the most money out of their house so that now it can pay their assisted living. But I just want you to be aware, and there's a lot of dynamics that's going on behind the scenes that you're not seeing. So when the gentleman that I said that, I told him we could get $430 for his house, I was over there the other day taking some pictures, and this guy sat up in the car, scared me to death. As it turns out, his 65-year-old son is living in a car in the driveway and scaring his dad. So even though we need to get the dad out of the house because he's in a wheelchair, there was a son living in the car that was coming in and threatening his dad not to sell. So just be aware that when you're talking to someone and you're getting maybe some resistance, there's some fear there. And he would never admit he was scared of his son, but we changed the locks and that ended that. So anyway, educate, interview, and call Mary and I because we've heard it all.
Yeah.